Hello, my name is Mordred Viking, and I'd like to welcome you to this stream of Hearts of Iron 4, where we are playing Kaiserreich as the Sublime Ottoman Federation. The Cairo Pact is no more. We have defeated them. It was hard, it was arduous, we very nearly lost. The Iranian forces did make it to the very outskirts of Anatolia. Actually, what is Anatolia? What's modern Turkey? Is it that? Yeah, I think it is. They made it all the way up to about here. So around Sivas, Kayseri. They definitely had Antep. They had that port. They didn't take Adana, but they did take that one. Because they had a port on the Mediterranean. Before we did a naval invasion around the back, getting in behind the Egyptian forces. We had taken Alexandria, we had taken the Nile Delta, took Cairo, but we couldn't push south past the mountains and into Asyut. So we did a naval invasion from Jeddah into Port Sudan and then pushed north and basically trapped their forces between us. Capitulated Egypt, swung all of our forces north. The Iranians had massively overextended, basically not protecting the southern line at all. So our super veteran forces from that front swung around. Which group was it? It was these guys, which aren't looking quite so super veteran anymore. But believe me, they've been through the wars. Punched through the south, cut them off, trapped the entire Iranian army like over here, took over the rest of Persia, and then won the war. So we are now in the post-war part. We can take a look at what new focuses we have. We're currently expanding the textile industry, which may not be what we want to actually do. We do have some new options, including reorganizing the realm, which might be a good idea. We can now secure the Persian Gulf. We annex Muscat. I don't think that's necessarily something we want to do immediately. Creates the Istanbul Pact, so that's creating new allies of our own. Azerbaijan, Afghanistan, no. I think we want to reorganize the realm. We need to get rid of all of the unhappiness and riot chants because people are a bit pissed with us right now. We have some rather high resistances at the moment, which we will need to go and deal with. Our vigorous desire to reform and adapt has left huge scars on the administrative structure of the realm, as positions, mandates and offices were often not granted the most deserving or adept, but rather to those who favour we needed the most. Now the state has been sufficiently saved from foreign threats, however, the time has come for a large-scale clean-up that will purge the empire of its corrupt underbelly. What's the policy regarding garrisons? Depends entirely on how much resistance there are. So as a general rule, you want to try and keep the resistance target below 25. So have whatever policy you need to keep the resistance target below 25. So there are a couple of people here which are going to be very, very high. For example, Mosul. But the resistance target is actually just 7 because we're no longer at war with Iraq. So the current resistance will drop down to 7 automatically over time. So we can rejig things to ensure that that's all set up. I'm just going to go and expand all of these because we do need to look at these in individual province level, like so. Our baseline is martial law, and I'm just going to flip everyone to martial law. And I always have the baseline as the highest, which is martial law, because I want there to be rigorous resistance, and then we dial it back as they become more compliant. Yeah, the rectangle is roughly modern Turkey, but the eastern end isn't strictly Anatolia. Gotcha. Lost Mines and Fandelver was a ton of fun. My players had a ton of fun. Yeah, so the last game that I DM'd was with this crew, and it was a total party kill against the end boss. Not going to spoil too much about that, but they're definitely going to like see the aftermath through rumours and things that enter Icewind, though Icewind is isolated, so that's going to be rather more difficult. Should be really interesting, though. Yeah, so I'm really excited to be DMing again. Really, really excited. What's the police template? Our police template is this. Military police with as many cavalry as we can squeeze in, just because it gets the biggest bang for the buck for the support equipment, which is more expensive. And your garrisons use fractions, so it won't necessarily be a massive division like this. It'll be like 0.1 divisions. Yeah, 0.19 divisions, for example. Okay, so Armenia does not need to be quite so harsh. They can actually be local police force, and that will get them down to 25. That's fine. You guys do need martial law, because Cyrenacia is super aggro. Because they have Home of Senussi Order modifier. Iran is actually super placated. We could probably even... Okay, maybe not local autonomy. Civilian gets us to 39. Local police gets us to 28. Secret police, 18. Secret police in Iran. That's actually a lot less than I expected. It's going to be martial law in Basra. And probably civilian oversight. Okay, local police in Mosul. Perfect. And bear in mind, the higher the compliance goes, the lower the resistance target will fall. So if you're at like 26-27% and it's still rising, by the time it hits the danger numbers, it will probably have sunk low enough. So you do have a few percent to play with. Muscat can actually go local autonomy. Egypt can go police force. Najd. Can do civilian oversight. And then Syria, I think that this is again going to be one does one does the other. So definitely martial law on Jerusalem, but we can probably do like secret police. Military governor. Nope, that's martial law, so we'll just use the default there. And then Yemen. Yemen can probably also be civilian. Nope, not quite. Local police it is. Okay, so that's the resistance sorted. As soon as the weapons start flowing out, then that will be sorted. Oh, the other tip I have for resistance is make sure that you have maximum priority on operations and garrisons. That way, as you get manpower and weapons, they'll go to the garrisons first, which will cause you a lot less resistance problems. Because most of the resistance problems stem from the fact that you have equipment shortages. And yes, we are still fighting Yemen, that's true. Yes, armoured cars are worth it. So in areas where you have exceptionally high resistance, so for example Jerusalem, I'd probably bring in armoured cars. And actually we have the army experience now, and we do have enough armoured cars in storage to consider that. So let's go and make a Silvari Firkasi. We're going to duplicate you. And we're going to call you Armoured Silvari Firkasi. Does that fit? Or is that literally just going to look like an eye? Oh, that'll do. And we will make you the Fist, because you guys are the hardcore units. And we're going to add in some armoured cars. Maybe a unit? Like that. Because we're not going to use these in very many locations. And this quite significantly ups the suppression. It also gives us armor, which gives us the extra hardness. It might actually be better if we just create a new one. Edit that. Create empty. We'll just go... We'll just create one of armored cars. I don't think we even necessarily need cavalry in it. And this way we can be a little bit more controlled about just how many of them we use. And it also means that our armor is going to be higher. Yeah, I like this more. So we're going to say Fist for you, because organization doesn't matter. It is purely about suppression. And again, it will use multiples. and fractions where necessary. Where's the fist gone? There it is. I knew it was down there. I was like, I've just gone completely blind here. There we go. Alright, so we'll use the armoured cars on the ones where resistance is super high, like Jerusalem. And there was one more. Basra. Oh, and then these guys too. We'll see if we have enough. It'll take a minute to re-equip, but that's fine. Capped at 149 right now. So we probably have a shortage of our... Oh, bloody hell. Yeah, okay, we can't do that many. I think we're just going to leave these as defaults for now. Because that's where it's going to be the most heavy use. I think it resets at midnight. There we go. 67 short. That should be okay. Now, are we still making armed cars? Not currently. Because of a huge steel shortage. I think we can start. Well, no, we don't like Russia. Japan. We like Japan. We'll buy from Japan. There we are. We can afford to buy one less. Because I don't care so much about the submarines at this juncture. Alright, cool. And we do have troops on the way down to the Yemeni front to go and deal with them as well. And I believe that we have a full naval blockade going on too. Air Force. Air Force is somewhat down here. Could honestly do with a heck of a lot more. So let's just bring them all in. Southern Arabia, that's where all the fighting is. Economy and civilian intel. Let's go Air Force and Navy as well. And this does mean that I can get another person in, which will be Mehmed Kemal Pasha. And we'll also double check where I have you guys working. So first of all, Libya, super important because this is where the resistance is at its highest. Then we'll say here and here. Okay. It's too bad that I disbanded all of the camels. They'd be kind of... Well, no, they were useless in the mountains. They'd be useful here, and then that's basically it. Oh, you already have an order. In that case, go ahead and start getting your plan prep together. I want this attack going as soon as possible. As soon as these guys get there, we'll drop that on you as well. Combat unit destruction, we got some air power. Chairman Bandamero removed from power. After the socialist victory in the Argentino-Chilean War, the government seemed to slowly be settling down for the Argentinian nation. With the results pointing to a clear majority in the Federación Obrera Regional Argentina, or the FORA, many were expecting the new government to assume its duties and finally stabilize the situation. However, this unfortunately never came to be, as the anarchist and communist forces both clashed in the capital, and the victorious side of the skirmish quickly went against Chairman Baldomero's forces. After securing Baldomero's resignation in the presidential house, Severino Di Giovanni's forces quickly took over the Congress, expelled the opposition, and sworn Severino Di Giovanni as the new chairman. Whether this will put an end to the violent political disputes in Argentina or further inflame tensions with the war-weary population, I'm guessing only time will tell. Socialist calls for unity only go so far, it seems. And yeah, we're getting loads of requests for tea. Give me a second, because I don't have the proper notifications up for that. Let's see. Vinsanity wants me to drink some tea. And then Sandrock as well. Can I show you the state of the rest of the world? I will when this offensive gets going. And actually, we have a couple of people with potential promotions. How far are you from Trickster? Not very close. How do you actually earn Trickster? Gaining experience or by events? Oh no, that's not it. Flanking an enemy or being flanked. You have Trickster, you just don't have the terrain trait. And you're 5% away from Desert Fox. Okay, you're going to be getting Improv Expert very, very soon. And you are an Attack 7, and you're my Mountaineer Expert. Fan-frickin-tastic. Okay. Alright, carry on. You guys are ready. You guys are almost ready. You guys are ready. You guys are ready. Alright. Let's crush this Yemeni resistance once and for all. And also get some new planes to go zoom zoom. Alright, world affairs. It's not looking good. I'll warn you that right now. So Germany is being pretty heavily invaded by the Third Internationale right now. In fact, this is looking eerily similar, minus the Low Countries, to the multiplayer game. Two Sicilies have actually pushed right back, so they were pushed back to the original borders. And since then, they have returned the favour, taking up to Florence. There is a huge socialist Italian invasion of Dalmatia going on, which is taking down the Donau-Adria-Bund. Union of Britain is taking out Greece. Russia is taking out White Ruthenia and has basically taken out Ukraine. So Russia and the Copro is probably going to be the last vestiges of non-internationalist strength. Meanwhile, the PSA, the great potential saviour of the Entente, is slowly but surely being pushed back. I think primarily because of Mexico. Mexico has been the cause of the destruction of the PSA, bearing in mind that the Dominion of Canada is in this war, and they are losing territory to the CSA. Less so than the PSA. The PSA is actually doing a fairly good... Canada doing a pretty good job of holding, whereas the PSA really isn't. Argentina has fallen to the Third Internationale. Peru, Bolivia, I think, has fallen to the Third Internationale. No, they haven't. And Brazil, I don't think, did either. No, they didn't. They're actually democratic. Heck yeah. French Republic still alive. We do, of course, have the sublime Ottoman Federation. We're relatively strong. Like, we have a lot of internal issues, but once those get solved, I think we're going to be in quite a good position, because we should have a relatively united people. We'll have a lot of potential industry. We have a lot of resources, particularly oil. The thing we're going to be lacking is steel. But if we manage to turn things around with Russia, or we stay buddy-buddy with Japan, we can probably just buy that. Cool. Yeah, we could arrange another naval invasion, but honestly, as soon as these guys fall back, I think that's it. Because they're just never going to be given the opportunity to recover. Is Muscat not in this war? No, it is. Oh, you've already pushed them back. Never mind. There goes Sardinia. That's another Entente power, unfortunately. And we do have pretty overwhelming air force here. Although currently they're all probably down on this side. I'm actually surprised there's no air support here. They probably can't reach. Yeah, they can't. That would be the problem. So that's why we're pushing them here so much more comfortably. And we are. Yeah, see, this is where my air force comes in. Fall of Bangkok. Earlier today, the victorious German soldiers marked through the streets of Bangkok after fierce resistance for most of the day. Most of the buildings of the Rakta Road were ruined by the artillery barrage from the German East Asia warships anchored outside of the Grand Palace. And the Reichskriegsflagge flag is now raised over the Antanda Makkom throne hall that used to be used by the Siamese government as their parliament. Many pro-German elements within the Siamese government are rumoured to have been with Admiral Helmut von Mucke, discussing post-war positions for themselves under the new German order as the remaining Siamese troops retreat towards the countryside. How do I have manpower? This is highly unusual. I mean, we are on extensive conscription, which is further along than I'd like to be. But we've gained manpower because we're kind of big now. And I did just disband all the camel units, there is that too. Must be the superior and abundant Ottoman equipment. I mean, actually, with the exception of the motorized and the tanks, we're not doing too badly. Never mind the fact that 500 infantry equipment just disappeared before your eyes. False news. Shouldn't be believed. I don't think local autonomy is working here. I mean, it is. But only in Kazab. Secret police for Dhofar. And they're trying to actually counter-attack into us in the mountains against mountaineers. Yeah, good luck with that. Nigeria took 2 states. Borno Emirate have been annexed. And now the attack against their capital proceeds. And one thing I should do is move this infantry guy over to the other side. Austria-Hungary federalizes. For the past few decades, the Austro-Hungarian Empire has decentralized authority from Vienna and Budapest, most predominantly with the creation of Illyria in 1927. Now that the process has taken another giant leap forwards with the creation of the United States of Greater Austria, the monarchy has restructured its internal structures to be more representative, while institutionally bringing its lands closer together. With the replacement of a decentralized squabbling empire with a unified state, the balance of power in Europe has shifted against all enemies and the status quo of the Habsburgs. Is that really true, though? I'm not sure that's really true. I mean, if they are able to stabilize and push back, fantastic. Is Suez fixed up or still in need of repairs? It is in the process of being repaired. Huzzah! It's only 19 days away, and also I just noticed the fate of Persia, which we should probably do. Alright, after a long fight with the Persians, we have launched a full offensive and forced the Persian army to surrender. Tehran is now in our hands. So do we liberate Persia, making them a puppet of the sublime Ottoman Federation, or do we occupy them militarily, hopefully eventually integrating them fully into the state? Now, do we do that diplomatically or by force? I'm actually just going to double check to see if we have a way of doing that peacefully. Sudan, Egypt, Arabistan, Azeri, Kurds. No, it doesn't look like Iran is actually done through focuses. It would have to be through reducing autonomy if we wanted to integrate them peacefully. But bear in mind, we have been basing basically all of the things that we have been doing thus far on decentralization. But were we taken advantage of by our rather nicer rhetoric towards the minions within our state, should those who stayed loyal to us, like Muscat, be rewarded, and those who turned against us, like Cyrenaica, like Syria, like Iran. Actually, Iran was just an outside force that attacked us, kind of like Egypt. How should we treat them? This is the question for the day. As soon as I set up a poll. Manage poll. Here we go. You should be over on that side. Bearing in mind that if we do annex them, we're going to need to deal with resistance. And also, we will probably not have them as efficient. Remember, this is not Old World Blues. Compliance takes decades to build up rather than 2 or 3 years. And vote. Get your votes in. Vote, vote, vote. Everyone invested in Suez. I'm not sure. Well, actually, yeah, they may have. Because we did invite investment. And we also invested heavily ourselves. Although that only reduces 50 days. So yeah, Suez being repaired has happened really quickly. Which is actually a little bit surprising, seeing as I refused to create the open mandate again. We assumed direct control of Suez. It's ours. Any investments they make right now is an investment towards good relations with the Ottoman Empire and the acceptance of our rightful position as its owner. Oh, Muscat should definitely be rewarded. Those guys were true to their words. I don't disagree with that. Have I ever seen the event, the Great Plains Peace, rather than the Rocky Mountain Ceasefire, playing chill UOB game? Helping CSA beat the AUS with volunteers. I got the aforementioned event for the first time. The PSA advanced across Mississippi River in several places, so I'm thinking that's got something to do with it. I think I have, where America basically gets divided in two. It usually results in just like a prolonged ceasefire, which does erupt in violence again. Germany doesn't like it, but they still need the canal open. Yeah, basically. And Germany's got other problems right now, namely French problems in Germany. Okay, so the poll results are in. Requin contributed 17,000 channel points. Thank you very much for that, Requin. Very much appreciate it. And 48% of you. This is a difference of just 3 votes. 48% of you went with Annex. We're actually going to puppet this. Interesting. Alright, Puppet Nation it is. So we're going to get the full efficiency out of Persia. We can trade them for their resources, and we'll also have full access to Iranian manpower. And actually, we did take this stuff. So these were not Iranian cores. Interesting. Okay. Oh, and we can do another war propaganda, which will boost our war support, and I'd like that idea. Yeah, do it. Do it. Do it now! Shouldn't have trusted the numbers and overbought. Tried to be efficient with bribing and lost. Yeah. Don't trust an independent Tehran, but I was frugal with my influence. A couple of people sounding like they regret their decisions a little. Interesting. Did the patch notes mention if Armenia or Kurdistan got focus trees? I haven't actually read the patch notes, so I don't know. I just know that the Ottomans got a rework. Hence I'm playing as the Ottomans.